Well, every night I go out running or riding my bike. I like the sweat, I like that flow I get. I like the feeling of the night air hitting my lungs. I like the feeling of rain while sticking out my tongue. Sometimes I like to pretend I'm on a secret mission. Sometimes I'm just making sure there's not something out there happening that I'm missing. And I swear to you, I get a real high from it. Fuck alcohol and fuck all that shit and fuck TV. Let's meet up with our bikes down by the old train bridge. I'll race you downtown and I'll show you what you missed from inside. And let's live our lives tonight. Let's ride our bikes into the night. And let's live our lives tonight.
All right, we got this. Hello, folks. Welcome to the Garret Schuelke podcast. I am your boy, your host, your podcast god, Garret Schuelke. And today we have a special guest online. Not online, via phone. Straight from Toledo, Ohio. He is a poet, writer, union worker, host of the Blue Collar Gospel Hour, founder of Not a Duck in Any Row Studios, and most recently, he has had his latest work, a novel titled $100 a Week Motel, published through Punk Hostage Press, which will be the main thing we're talking about today. Folks, let's give it up for Dan Denton.
Hey, thanks for having me, Garret.
Yep, Dan, great to have you on this evening. As I said, I'm recording from my room here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and you're recording from your very own studio in Toledo, Ohio. You got a name for it?
Yeah, the Not a Duck in Any Row studio that I built in my basement, DIY style, when they put us on house arrest due to COVID.
Yeah, and I remember when we were setting this up 2 weeks ago, I guess you asked, yeah, will I come to you or you want to come to me? And I'm like, yeah, the roads are pretty shitty. We should probably just do this over phone. But if you've seen the weather in the past week, boy howdy, what a change.
Yeah, we had, it was like a third or fifth most snow in one day in Toledo history in like the last 120 years or something. Like 12.4 inches. And then 1 week later, it's 50 degrees every day.
Yep, and I guess this week too, especially in Chicago, which I just got back from, it's supposed to be like the 60s this week, plus rain.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be in the 60s here, but then we're actually going to Orlando next week. It's going to be in the 80s. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Climate Change, for it's the only thing around here that'll actually clear up my roads, since God knows the city of Grand Rapids ain't gonna plow that shit.
Yeah, sometimes the negative things do work in our favor, like climate change now and again.
Yeah,
that 67 degree day in January now and again, you know.
Yeah, enjoy the little things before the climate apocalypse, pretty much.
Well, I figure if we reach the midnight on the nuclear clock, once we hit that, we might as well make a picnic and enjoy the afterglow, before it's all over,
Oh yeah, totally. Just accept that it's gonna be a worldwide Chernobyl.
Yeah, so once you accept that fact, I feel like there's freedom to do just about anything else,
All right, Mr. Denton. It's been some time since we've talked. How's it going, dude?
Oh, it's been pretty good. I think when we last talked, I was just talking to my publisher about the $100 a week motel. I think I had just sent her like a 2/3 manuscript. And she was waiting for the rest, and I was hurrying to try to get it. Well, not really hurrying, but you know how it goes. You're a writer, you know how it goes, Garret.
Don't I ever.
So I did, I got it finished, and then we started the editing process, and well, now I'm a published author,
Yeah, and is this your first published novel?
Yes, it's my first published novel. My first, I guess they call them perfect bound books. Previous to this, I've only had like staple chapbooks of poetry, published. And like short stories and stuff in magazines,
Chapbooks, zines, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool to, finally. It was awesome. Honestly, it's the first novel I ever finished, like full-length manuscript. I've tried to start a bunch, but I never finished them,
Yeah. How about we dive right into that then?
Okay.
Yep. Your very first published novel, $100 a Week Motel. Can you tell us what it's about?
Sure. It's about living in a cheap motel and working in a shitty factory, man. It is semi-autobiographical in the fact that I lived in several shitty, cheap motels and worked in shitty factories when I was kind of a younger alcoholic,
All right. And what made you want to write the book?
I don't know that I did want to write it. So how I kind of got started is weird. I didn't intend to write a book like this. One day, since the pandemic, it's been all go to work in the factory and come home afterwards, and that's it because, COVID-19 is bad, So a lot of times, because of COVID, the good thing is, like I said, the good thing with climate change, you get a warm day once in a while. The good thing with COVID is I have a lot more time to be alone at home and work on my stuff, So one day I couldn't write for a couple days, and I just started, I was thinking about one of the motel rooms I lived in once in Effingham, Illinois. It had this real faded burgundy door. So I gave myself a project. I was just going to write and describe that door. It's like a writing grip, prompt, So I wrote the first chapter to that book, and then I forgot about it. And that's kind of how I got started. And then one day, I was reading through, I couldn't write again, and I'm reading through some things that I had started on, looking for something to work on, And I saw that, and then I wrote the second chapter, and what had happened was, I just saw a news story that reminded me of some people I lived next door in a motel once. This couple that were kind of like a crack dealer pimp and his girlfriend. And I lived next door to people that were similar to the ones I read this news story, and that was the second chapter of this book, and then I had something going, So I guess that's how you write books, or at least that's how that one happened. You've got a couple of them. How do yours kind of start, Garrett?
Oh boy. Well, let me think for a quick sec here. Well, I guess I kind of put them into three categories. There's literary fiction, which was Anamaki and Hup Jamboree for the most part. Then
Hup Jamboree.
Yep, that's actually how you and I met, Mr. Denton, at Michigan City, Indiana. At God damn it, Michelle's gonna kill me. What was the what's the festival called that we were at?
Creative Lit Fest? No. Underground Lit Fest.
Jeez, yeah.
Hey, by the way, Michelle McDaniel is, just to tell you, I'm sorry, Garrett, but Michelle McDaniel is the one that introduced me to Iris Berry, my publisher at Punk Hostage Press.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that in a sec, yeah. But that's actually how you and I met. First it was online somehow, and then we met in person there, and you're gracious enough to buy my first short story collection, Hup Jamboree.
Yeah, we kind of spent an afternoon, like an hour one afternoon out front.
Yeah, and
I smoked cigarettes, and I think we're both kind of we have similar life philosophies, I guess you'd say. And we're both kind of a little bit socially awkward enough that we kind of get along. I don't know.
yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate.
For you, but if you listen to both of our podcasts.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty accurate, and we both read poetry at the 2 poetry readings there.
Yep, I sure did.
Yep. So anyway.
By the way, your book has one of the things that it's been maybe 2 years since I've read it, and I just got your other book, your new book you sent. We traded, but I haven't read it yet. But what I appreciate about Hub Jamboree was that the characters, like how interesting the characters are in that book, by the way.
Thank you. And I got your book as well. Thank you for that. And I realized that afterwards, because I mailed my book to you before I picked up your book from my P.O. box. Yeah, I forgot to sign it. Sorry about that. I'll do it next time we meet.
You forgot the what?
I forgot to sign it.
Ah, asshole.
Yeah, I know. I fucking suck.
And let me ask you a question real quick, completely off topic, that I've been thinking about.
Sure.
Because I know you've experienced this, because you signed your first book I bought from you. How many times do you think people have asked you to sign a book or something, do you think?
Let me see. I'm trying to actually think as far back as my first poetry chat book. Let's see. It's less than 10, I know that.
Does it kind of feel awkward to you a little bit to write your name in books?
Oh, no, actually it isn't. It's actually quite fantastic, actually. I feel really good about it. It makes me feel like a real writer, you could say.
Yeah, a little bit, but it kind of makes me... So, I don't know, one day after work, so this is my first book, like I had the chat book, and, like people would buy it from me at a reading and I'd sign it. But, like I've been sending books out, like your book, trading books with other writers, and, like, people buy it from me, so I'll ship them the book. And, like, I always sign it, but I always don't know if they want me to or not, kind of. I don't know if that's... that makes me feel a little weird, I guess.
Actually, it was a little bit when, back when I was a teenager, I was writing for my school newspaper. That was a little bit odd. People come up saying, "Hey, Gary, I like that article," or whatever. But now I like to take it in. I'm like Oscar Wilde in a way. I love the adortion.
Yeah. That, it is kind of cool. Like, people come up to me at work now that I bought my book, and they'll tell me about one of the characters in my book like they're a real person, and that's kind of how I feel like, okay, maybe I am a writer. You know what I mean?
Okay. I can put a men there. You see, I like it when people I know, like, say online or at book festivals or whatever. Yeah, I like it when they compliment me or ask for my autograph or that. But at work, no, not a big fan of people bringing up my writing there. Because
it does make me feel a little awkward being a union steward. Because if you read $100 a Week Motel, it is very graphic. If you made an accurate movie about it, which someday I hope somebody does, it would be NC-17, I think.
Oh yeah, same thing with mine. It's not really because I'm writing that book per se. It's more so because I'm afraid someone I'm say beefing with will go report that or exaggerate or whatever and get me in trouble for it.
Yeah, that's well,
but I guess
having a podcast too, I worry about that a little bit too.
Yeah, same here. And be honest, there is still like a little worry, but for the most part, it's just like, fuck it,
Yeah, everybody. I mean, most people kind of have read my poetry enough to kind of know me, enough that at some level they've accepted that I'm a little weird and that I'm a writer and that's kind of cool. I guess a little bit. I don't know.
Well, I guess for me too. First of all, I've been at my job for 8 years now. Woohoo! So
about 7.5, so about the same length.
Yeah, so I got some seniority there, and two, it's one of those things where like I worry about for a bit, but then after a while it just burns out of me. Then it's like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah.
And I kind of am at the point at my quote-unquote career at the warehouse. And that's another thing, to all my dedicated listeners, is that I do not name where I work. I just say the warehouse. Since
same with me.
Yeah, because that's
automotive factory.
Because that's one thing I've learned through like arguing and trolling online and that, is that a lot of people tend to get in trouble because they let the world know where they work.
Yes.
And they proudly display it. But then when they do something hateful or stupid, they get in trouble or shit can for it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, just don't mention the name, just don't put anything online about what my day job is, and we're good to go.
I'm a little opposite. Like, even my my author photo, on the back of the book, I'm wearing a shirt that is from the place I work. So, I mean,
hint, wink.
I mean, yeah, it is what it is, man.
Well, I mean,
at some level, in the digital age, people can find information enough, and I guess, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've talked about my job. I've given out hints. I mean, you don't have to be Batman, the world's greatest detective, to figure out where I work. But,
hey, by the way, who are we sponsored by today?
Oh, sponsored by... Oh, man, wow, I'm not really prepared for this joke since, usually it's Drake's Party Store in Kalamazoo, Michigan. But,
That's a good one.
But...
That's a good sponsor.
Oh, yeah, I'm waiting for the day that someone informs them that I've been jokingly telling them they're my sponsors.
I've been sending random emails to Red Bull.
Oh, really?
See if they'll sponsor my studio and lounge that I'm building. Because, only because I drink a lot of sugar-free Red Bull. And I would be cool with it. Like, all they got to do is give me a free Red Bull, Garrett, and I'll sponsor. Like, they can, sponsor all my stuff, you know? I'm not asking for much.
Oh, that's nice.
I
Okay.
haven't responded to any of my emails yet, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah, you know who that reminds me of?
Who?
Insane Clown Posse. They've been, I guess for years, they've been trying to get Fago to sponsor them.
Yeah.
But Fago just will not touch them.
I feel like that's the same thing as me. Like, it just makes sense, Garrett. I have a factory audience, and we're probably like 1/3 of Red Bull's product, and we use their product a lot, you know.
Oh, I know a sponsor. Okay. Today's sponsor is Various Chemicals. Yes, that's right. Various Chemicals. Are you a creative type? Are you trying to get the words down or the music out, and you just don't know how to do it? You know, it's just blocked up. Well, then, take some chemicals. You know, aka drugs. You know, that will help the process. And now, back to the program.
Hey, I really admire the success you've had at getting these high-level sponsors, man.
Yeah, I know. It's been very good. I'm looking forward to some big-time corporate soon. I'm thinking about getting Raytheon to sponsor me.
And let me ask you an honest question.
Sure.
If somebody offered you $3 million sponsorship, would you sell out for the corporate world for that?
Oof.
Well, I don't think sell out, but would you take the sponsorship?
That is a lot of money, and
what if it was Walmart?
Actually, for that price, yeah, sure. I mean,
I think I would too, man.
I mean,
then I could do whatever I wanted afterwards. You know?
I mean, the Raytheon one I just mentioned is what one of my favorite podcasts called Behind the Bastards with Robert Evans. He always jokes about how they're sponsoring him, even though they're war criminals that make weapons. You see, but Walmart, as evil as it is, as far as I know, they're not making shit that kills brown children in the Middle East. So, I could justify it.
Oh, yeah.
But,
they're they're a large employer, and yeah, sure.
But if it was something else yeah, hey, Mr. Schuelke, the mercenary outfit Blackwater wants to sponsor this podcast. Nope. Oh, what's that?
Okay, but I'm not wearing camouflage.
3 trillion? No, not worth it.
Well, some of those you might wind up dead if you don't comply.
Okay. Well, okay, well, let's get back to that question there. Okay, so I have my three processes, literary, genre, and poetry. Honestly, literary and genre writing really doesn't differentiate for me all that much. I still outline, I still brainstorm. I would say, though, that genre, i.e., like Godin, superhero, pulp fiction kind of stuff, is a lot easier than literary because, I take both of them seriously, but I just feel more freer because I'm essentially writing about a gutter punk superhero with wolf powers that beats shit up. That's a lot different than, say, writing a Floyd Spicer story where he's going through a depressive episode. And for poetry, that's just straight up Kerouacian, spontaneous on the go writing. At least on the first draft. I then do editing and whatnot, but it's not like I plot it out or anything. Which is probably how poetry should be in the first place, rather than prose.
Yeah, I like at least the poetry that I like has a lot of heart to it. A lot of feel.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's pretty much like, oh, I have an idea for a poem, so I'm gonna go sit down and write it out. I don't think when Bukowski wrote Bluebird, he wrote out a point by point thing of what he wanted to include in the poem.
Yeah, there's not a lot of outlining to poetry, I don't think. I hope not. At least not to me, it's not.
Yeah. So yeah.
Although I do sometimes write specific projects like right now I'm working on a project. So my next book, by the way, is almost done. The manuscript.
Oh, nice.
But I'm working on part of that. At the end of that manuscript, I hopefully include a project called Prayers to My Saints. And it's like poems of my dead heroes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to round that chapbook series off with some new quote-unquote people, heroes that have passed away recently to build that manuscript out. So right now, I'm researching, I don't do this with poetry often, but in this case, I'm actually researching these topics. So I've been reading a lot about Jackie Robinson because I want to write a poem to Jackie Robinson,
Oh, well.
So I'm actually specifically researching for poetry. I don't do that very often.
Oh, that's fine, dude. Really. Another thing I've learned throughout all my years with writing, especially look at other authors and specifically if they talk about their process or they say what they think other writers should do, you really gotta take what works best for you and then go with it.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes you gotta try different ways, too.
Yeah, I remember way back in high school, before I, was even close to writing poetry or fiction, I think I read something about, Stephen King saying some shit if you don't write this many words per week, or read this many, if you don't write this many words per week, and don't read this many books per week, you will never be a good writer. Which, first of all, this is Stephen King saying that, and I acknowledge his greatness, but yeah, when it comes to prose masters, not highly up there. And two, that works for Stephen King because he's a writeaholic, Kerouac level fast when it comes to writing.
Yeah.
Whereas myself, I work at a warehouse and I'm generally a slow writer. So it's okay, I really can't make this work like I can Stephen King does, because everything about us is completely different. So this writing advice is completely useless to me.
Yeah, well, and I feel like I'm the same way. I'm more similar to you than at least Stephen King. And to be clear, I have friends that are authors, and they sit down every day at 8 o'clock in the morning and write a certain amount of words every day.
Nice.
And that works for them, and I even am jealous a little bit of that discipline. But I'm more of so this is my rule for being a writer, Gary. I have to work at my writing every day. That's my only rule. And that might mean that maybe I just work on editing one stanza of one poem today because that's all I had time to get to today. And I got to accept that that's all I got, because I'm a father and I work 60 hours a week in a factory,
Yeah, I'm in the same boat there.
So as long as I at least work at it a little bit every day, somehow it always works, I guess. And that's like, I don't know, that's my only rule,
Yeah. All right. So, we already went off there.
God damn it.
Hey, it's a great thing about podcasting. You can ramble on and people will listen.
I know, I do anyway.
All right, yeah. Okay, so, we talked about what made you want to write the book, the writing process, and how it started. How long overall did it take for you to write $100 a week motel?
So once I started working on it, once I got an idea that this might be a book, that I had something going, it was probably about 2.5 months, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty much working at it every evening, every day, like trying to write or edit every day on it, And one of the things that worked for me was I would come home every day from work and I would reread the last chapter and edit it a little bit, and just doing that would get the next chapter flowing, kind of. So about 2.5 months.
All right. Okay, so we talked about that. Let's talk about the publisher, Punk Hostage Press, which, if I remember correctly, is an indie publisher right out of California, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how did you hook up with them?
So, Punk Hostage Press, by the way, they have been so good to me. Their publishers, Iris Berry and A. Razor, are both artists and writers, So the press is ran by people like us, which is cool to work with them,
Mm-hmm.
So Punk Hostage Press, Iris Berry, I just built my studio, and this is kind of like the magic of it, really. I built my studio, and I had bought a program for my Mac computer called Create Booklet because I wanted to learn how to make staple chapbooks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just to practice, I made my own chapbook for my poetry called Give Us This Day Our Daily Grind, an ode to the American factory worker. So I published 12 of my own factory poems in a book and sold them online to buy some stuff for my studio, and learn how to make books. Well, I ended up doing a Zoom reading because I was trying to learn how to do Zoom readings. And Michelle McDaniel invited Iris to come to that Zoom reading. And Iris heard me read poetry. And because of that, we started talking, and I sent her that manuscript. So,
all right.
By the way, they're in Hollywood, California, by the way, which is kind of cool.
All right. You mentioned a few of them there. What people were instrumental in getting this book published?
So, Iris Berry, of course, and Michelle both did a lot of they did all of the editing work on it. Michelle McDaniel wrote the introduction, an incredible introduction to the book. S.A. Griffin, who is a co-editor of the Outlaw Bible of American Poetry, one of my favorite books of all time. Highly recommend if you're a writer and poet, you get that book.
Oh wait, the Outlaw Book of American Poetry, you said?
The Outlaw Bible of American Poetry.
Oh, funny you should mention that, because my bookshelf is right next to me, and yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yep, I got it.
S.A. Griffin, the co-editor of one of my favorite books, has been published by Punk Hostage Press. They asked him if he would do a blurb for it because they knew I was kind of a fan of his. And he liked the book enough that he agreed to write a foreword, an incredible foreword to it. By the way, it starts out that $100 a week motel is a hallelujah chorus of proletariat madness. And that's just about the best review I could ever get, as a writer. Right there, Proletariat madness. But, so he wrote the foreword to it. And then Iris wrote an editor's note. And my friends, author Michael Grover, author Drew Coomer, my local artist friend Automatic, all agreed to write reviews and blurbs for it. And Scott Eicher, a Los Angeles artist, did the cover and the cover art, inside cover art for it. So we had a lot of cool people involved with the project, which kind of I felt like it made that book, $100 a Week Motel, it kind of turned it into like a piece of art, kind of, you know? So that was kind of neat. Very
nice. Did you submit this book to any place else before Punk Hostage Press?
No.
Oh, wow. So, like, first suggestion it got published, right?
Yeah. I know, like, I feel really, really lucky.
Damn right you're lucky. Very impressed.
Everything I've ever had published, people heard me read and asked me to, ask if they could publish me.
Oh, very nice, man.
I've been really, really lucky that way. And, of course, this is how this worked, too. And like I said, the second book is due out hopefully next year. By the way, Punk Hostage, they've been so good to me, Garrett, that they released my book, $100 a Week Motel, on their 9th anniversary, January 13th.
Oh, really?
And co-founder, co-publisher, A. Razor, held his book publishing release date off one day, released his the next day, so I could be released on their anniversary. I thought that was really cool, man.
Yeah, that's some very good timing.
Yeah, so they've been really cool to me, which is why I've been telling people, I really encourage people to buy it on Amazon or on Google or Barnes & Noble or our local independent bookstore in Northwest Ohio, www.gatheringvolumes.com. They have copies too. But I encourage people to buy it online because I get really good royalties, and my press has been really good to me, you know. So,
okay. Yeah, that's one way to put it. But,
yeah, so, you know, it's like, I know Amazon's shitty, but it's like that's what we publish on, and, you know, and I get royalties, you know, and it helps my publisher, so.
Actually, I would have to look it up. I think it's maybe this week, but I think they're calling for a short digital boycott.
Yeah, so buy it on www.gatheringvolumes.com. You can buy it online or in store.
Don't buy Amazon right now because they're trying to unionize and wow, if you've read anything that Amazon's been doing to try to stop it.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're pretty much the fucking devil, but I mean, there's no way around it.
Yeah, what can you do? I guess.
I've been Googling this. For about $13,000, I can buy my own printing press and I can print 800-page softbound books.
Or you can do like I do and just go Lulu.
Yeah, well, I've been looking at a local union print shop here. I've been emailing with them. Like, I showed them a book of poetry that was published on Amazon with the glue binding, you know. And they're working on giving me an estimate on what it would cost if I, published a book like that and ordered 500 copies. And I want to see the affordability of doing that and then shipping on our own books, you know.
Oh, okay.
Until we get to that point, you know.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny, too, because last week, which, by the way, folks, Dan and I were actually supposed to talk last Sunday, but due to the wonderful weather that we've been having around here, I happened to catch a cold or something, and I just couldn't shake it. Which,
Welcome to the Midwest.
Yeah, but the Wednesday before that, I did talk to another author, my favorite author of mine. His name's Ben Tanzer, out of Chicago. Yeah, let's actually talk about his new book, Upstate, and he noted that I think 2 of his books are technically out of print right now because the publishers went out of business for one reason or another. Yeah, that's my one thing I would as a fellow writer I would kind of advise you to keep a eye out when it comes to publishing is whether that publisher is about to go under or not. Which I don't believe that Punk Hostage Press is going to be doing anytime soon.
No, so Punk Hostage Press, they've been around 9 years. They're planning a big shindig on their 10th anniversary next year. in Joshua Tree, which I'm going to hope I've been invited to hopefully be a part of. A big anniversary reading for their 10th anniversary. But they got 8 or 10 books they're going to release this year coming out still to come. So,
oh, nice. Out there in California.
Yeah, and it's so some of the writers they publish are they're pretty legendary underground, writers. Michelle McDaniel, S.A. Griffin, A. Razor, Nadia Bruce Rawlings, William Scott Hayes had his first book out called Burden of Concrete. Jack Grisham, just incredible, pretty legendary underground writers, in California and around the country.
Very nice.
So I really like that every book seems that, they asked me to write a blurb. That was the first time somebody asked me to do that. It's kind of cool, Garrett. But I got to write a blurb for Razor's book. But you know how, every book seems like it's a group effort somehow from the press. That's kind of cool,
Oh yeah, that's indie press for you. We're all technically in this together, one way or another.
Yeah, I know you work closely with other local artists like that too.
Yeah. My editor / psychedelic guru Zach Elmblad and I have been together, if you want to call it that, together since 2017.
Yeah.
Still going strong, baby. All right.
Irish just made a video, by the way, of one of my poems, Smokestacks. It's pretty cool. It's like a 2-minute long black and white video.
Oh yeah, you sent me that one.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, so I was drawing a blank here, but how long has $100 a week motel been out?
It came out January 13th, so about a month and a half.
All right, and what has the reception been for the book so far?
By the way, that's 2 months. I don't even know what day it is hardly. So far, it's had rave reviews so far. One of the things that I've been kind of telling people, a guy named John Philpott is a best-selling author, retired FBI serial killer profilist. He was a consultant for the TV show Dexter. He's a really
nice,
pretty high-level artist, kind of creative. By the way, he graduated from Harvard. He gave my book a rave review. So that's kind of cool,
Yeah, Dexter is actually one of my favorite depression marathon shows on Netflix.
I think I've watched 5 seasons of it, so me too.
Yeah, that and the anime Yu-Gi-Oh! But they took off
My daughter watches anime. I don't so much, but I do because she does.
Oh, come on! You don't like anime? Come on.
I watch it. I just don't get into it,
You just haven't found the right one yet.
Nah. I don't, Well,
okay.
But that John Philpott, he wrote 2 books with my mother-in-law, which is how he found my book. And then he sent my mother-in-law an email, and he said, hey, in all honesty, no book has ever grabbed me like Dan's book since Bukowski and Hunter S. Thompson, which are my 2 biggest heroes.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Seriously.
So, yeah, that's kind of really had me on cloud 9 for a few days now, So.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That is great praise to get. No lie.
Yeah, I think $100 a week motel really is a pretty good book. But now I think it's kind of, I guess, I think you know what I mean by this. Other writers start to send you messages, hey, really good book, or you start getting all these friend requests from other writers, and at some point you realize, oh, these people consider me a writer, I must be a writer, So now I feel not challenged. I think the next book's almost done and it's pretty good, but I feel a drive to keep working at it, and keep writing more,
Well, that's actually my next question here. What's next? You said that you're currently working on the next novel?
Yeah, so my next book, One Conscious Press, by the way, has given me carte blanche. Did I say that word? I think it's how you say that, right?
Maybe. I'm not really...
They've agreed to publish anything I want to publish, which is an open-ended book deal, which is amazing in the small press.
when they told you that, did you look at them slyly and say anything?
Nah, I was on the phone. It was
okay.
Just so organic. I was like, cool, but it's also like $100 a week motel. I think is good enough. I don't want to have like a sophomore slump,
So the sequel won't be $200 a week motel.
No.
Okay.
But it's just as depraved. So I wrote a short story / novella that's about 60 to 70 pages long called Finding Jesus. And it's about a drunken road trip from central Ohio to Eureka Springs, Arkansas to see a 67-foot tall concrete Jesus statue called Christ of the Ozarks. Along the way, there's some obstacles and a palm reader that he falls in love with. And I can't tell you any more, but to fill out that book and make it a full-length book, I'm working on the Prayers to My Saints, Poems of My Dead Heroes part of that.
All right.
So,
all right, very good.
That's next. Hopefully, my publisher's talking about maybe as part of their 10th anniversary celebration, that'd be one of the books I release. So,
all right.
And my partner, Libby, who is also a writer and my best editor and fan, says it's better than $100 a week motel. So there's that.
Who you said right now is listening in on this podcast?
Sort of. She moved to the recliner now. We're watching Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas on Mute.
Oh, okay. That's how you podcast right there.
Well, we've both been in a funk, and we agreed that's the kind of movie that gets you out of a funk.
Yeah, well, speaking of Hunter S. Thompson movies, have you ever seen Where the Buffalo Roam?
Yes.
Oh, man, I think I almost like that better than Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
So I've debated that, and I think Fear and Loathing wins. Just on edge, because I feel like Benicio del Toro's character is one of my favorite characters of all time in movies.
Oh, I totally agree that Fear and Loathing is a vastly better film. But it's just that Where the Buffalo Roam is just... How should I put it? It's so absurd, and Bill Murray is such a bad Hunter S. Thompson.
Yes, that's part. Yeah, that aspect-wise, definitely that gets an edge over Fear and Loathing.
I mean, Johnny Depp, I guess, is Thompson. He's Raul Duke, whereas with Bill Murray, it's like, okay, do an impression.
But Bill Murray's Bill Murray, like it's.
Yeah, I know.
He's almost iconic enough he can't be Hunter S. Thompson,
Well, also, I guess, when I first learned about it years ago, I researched it before I bought it. I guess according to, fellow actors and whatnot, Bill Murray became way more of a dick after he made that movie, because he, I guess, absorbed Hunter S. Thompson's, vibes so much that he just kind of stuck with him. So... I don't know, you're on the set of Ghostbusters and hear this asshole like, the Doomed.
Has this ever happened to you? So recently, I read a book, and the subject matter of the book, if the book was well written, it was a great book, but the subject matter was dark, and 2/3 through the book, I felt kind of depressed reading it. And I finished it, and it was a great book, and I'm glad I did. But does that ever happen to you a little bit?
I wouldn't say that, but I would say that I've been shocked or even disturbed, like when I used to read the Marquis de Sade. Yeah, definitely him. Or there's this serial killer, his name was Pee Wee Gaskins. Basically, the greatest serial killer come out of South Carolina. He wrote in a quote-unquote autobiography called Final Truth. And it's fucking bad.
Yeah. This is one thing, I'm not struggling with this quote-unquote, but you and I both talk about, I've got depression issues and blah, 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 I'm bipolar. So, when people compare me to Hunter S. Thompson, I guess it's kind of whack to me, man.
I can see why.
I guess kind of like, whoa, like, I don't, it's not heavy, but it's like, it's super, super fucking cool, man, but it's also like, holy shit, that's Hunter S. Thompson.
Well, I guess the way I would look at it is, consider the source and what, because I guess the one you just said is they're trying.
He's the best-selling author.
No, they're praising you. They have good intentions. It's not like someone writing you a 1-star review saying, he's just like Hunter S. Thompson.
Nah. Shit, I was going to say something, but by the way, I think you'll appreciate this a little bit. When we go on vacation to Orlando, the 2 books I have picked to read that we were there, because we have a condo or a house with a private pool and a hot tub, right?
Hmm.
Really looking forward to like sitting outside in the sun and just reading a book, But I picked Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas because I haven't read that in a while, and a book called Kill Me Now: The Definitive Oral History of Punk Rock.
Oh, Please Kill Me, yes.
Yes.
One of my all-time favorite books.
Read that. I finally got a copy. I'll hopefully read it that week.
Yep, it's one of my all-time favorite books right there.
I knew you'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
I can't believe I haven't read it. I'm listening to a podcast about the history of the Stooges, and they reference that book a lot, so I'm like, I had to get it finally. I've heard about it, but I got to get that. Hopefully, I can't wait to finally read it.
Oh, you'll enjoy it. I assure you, you will.
People forget how much music history we have in this area, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, really, the MC5, that's one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, actually, when I was in Chicago yesterday, I went to my favorite bookstore in Chicago called My Optic Books, Wicker Park, and, excuse me a sec. Oh, man, got that COVID.
Oh, shit.
No. Don't worry, you can't catch it over podcasting, I think. I don't think it's mutated to that extent yet.
But does podcasting alter your DNA, Garrett? Are you sure?
Oh, absolutely.
Damn it.
But it's good, though. I mean, it's not like the bad mutation. It's not like a reptilian level thing here. It's good.
So it's not 666 related?
Nope, not at all. It's 777. Okay, anyway, so I went there, and much to my surprise and luck, I got a book called It's All Good, the John Sinclair Reader.
Ooh.
Of John Sinclair, poet and former manager of the MC5.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, been enjoying it so far. It's a mixture of selected articles and poetry by him.
There's a bookstore in Orlando, and I unfortunately I can't remember the name of it because I can't remember shit. But there's an independent bookstore in Orlando that's on our list. One of the days we're going to try to visit there.
Are you going to go to Disney World?
No, negative.
It might be there. They may have it in their bookstore.
We might visit Epcot Aquarium because our friends that we're going with want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm cool with that, like some touristy things too, I guess. Like for instance, we're going to drive. So we're renting a Jeep Wrangler because I wanted a convertible and a Union-made automobile. And that's all I got to say about that.
Okay.
But we plan on, taking the top off and spending a whole day driving to the Keys and back. Mostly we plan on being safe, but like doing some touristy things as we can too,
All right.
But do you think when you go on trips, like when you went to Toronto and stuff, do you always plan to go to a bookstore every time you go on a trip?
Actually, a lot lately it's been more so record stores. Because,
Big too.
Because, God, dude, I got so many books, and, I don't read as fast or as much as I used to, since,
How big is your to-be read pile?
Well, shit, I could probably send you a picture of my to-read pile, but, yeah, it takes up an entire space on my floor.
Yeah, man. I feel like mine keeps growing. I don't read it. I don't have as much time to read as I want.
Well, us famous indie authors, these books are great, but we gotta be writing our own masterpieces.
Yeah,
right?
that's famous.
Yeah.
By the way, this is the level of fame I have reached as a writer. Is during this, I'm sure this is going to be one of those. They're going to quote from this podcast interview, Garrett, in our biopic documentaries. I already know.
Really?
Yeah, I can tell. But
oh, hell
the
yeah.
level of fame I've reached in this interview, I had a ice cream sundae delivered, and I ate it during this interview.
Oh, nice.
Man, that's a high level of fame right there, and comfort, and really, to be honest with you, white privilege. But that's a topic. That's another topic.
All right. Well, to end this part of the interview, I got a $100 a week motel right here in my hand. Like I said, thank you for saying it, and thank you for signing it too. Since I would say about 30, 40 years from now, I'm probably gonna sell it for millions of dollars so that I can have the money to go live up in the space station that Elon Musk is creating right now.
Yeah, well, so I don't know if it'll be worth millions, but a good Bukowski autograph goes for about $3,000.
I assure you, I will get some of that too. But but remember that, Mr. Denton, that in the future, your book will help me live up in the stars, so that when the climate apocalypse hits, I will still keep on reading and writing.
Do you think they're going to have cheap apartments there for the artists to live in?
Oh, hell no.
Trailer parks?
Oh, no.
If there's not trailer park art and poetry in space, I don't want to go, Garrett.
Oh, that's probably going to be all like AI generated.
Do you think the AIs will generate that kind of art, or will it be cookie cutter?
Oh, Elon Musk will make sure that it's the most perfect poetry ever. You know, Walt Whitman will be crying in his grave. It's so perfect. But
I don't think they're going to invite me.
No one likes me, my friend, except you. You like me.
I love you, man. You have just the right amount of angst and survivalism. But, what people don't understand is you're a real-life patriot. It's not that we hate our country. That's a different topic here.
Keep
writing and keep making art, brother.
Yeah, I would disagree with that one, but yeah, thanks for the love. But
it's despite all my angst, I really do love my country. I just want to make it different and better, you know.
All right.
And I want to live somewhere where I don't have to shovel 12 inches of snow ever again in my life.
Yeah, we can agree on that one. Okay.
So that was like a 3-day nightmare, dude. The next day, so my mother-in-law lives in Perrysburg. I guess that would be like one of the more affluent suburbs in my area. It's like a 25-minute drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the next day after the historic snowstorm, I get in my 4-wheel drive truck. I drive to her house. I have to dig out her Ford Escort that's 20 years old and only has 30,000 miles on it because she has a doctor's appointment the next day. Well, the snowplow had went down her little alley side street, and there was a 4-foot drift, and all I had was a shovel. It was a fucking nightmare. I'm too old for that shit, man. Welcome to the Midwest in February.
Yep. All right.
Thanks for letting me bitch. Welcome to my TED Talk.
All right. Before we go on, next topic, I would, I'd like to again congratulate you on the new book. And in your honor, I would like to read the very first chapter.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man.
Since I think since like all good books, it really sets up the theme and the storyline for the rest of it.
Awesome, thank you.
Hold on a sec. I had to drink that water. This episode is brought to you by water that I filled up into my previous jug and then put in my refrigerator to cool. Alright, folks, first chapter of $100 a Week Motel by Dan Denton. The tire burgundy door sagged, so that you had to turn your key with one hand and lift up the knob, loose from being lifted a cunt hair a dozen times a day. and the burgundy paint had long lost the will to live, and had given in to the daily thundering pounding of the July noon suns. The air conditioner was the size of a small eco-car, and grunted and groaned, and never quite seemed to hold back summer. Brown carpet with mysterious stains that told a story of no fucks left desperation. Lifeless curtains, wobbly table, sagging chair, queen-size bed with mattress ridden hard by boredom and lust. Summer, lightweight, quilt, faded tan with frayed hole near foot of the bed. Mirrors above the bed mounted on the ceiling. 2-drawer dresser, mini fridge and microwave. Trash can that holds 3 empty tall boys before slowly vomiting up 3 days' worth of hopelessness. Sink and mirror. Toilet with jiggly handle. Rust-stained shower with dripping shower head. Big boxy TV with free cable and HBO. And a 2-way switch in the back that clicked the antenna over to a 24-hour adult movie channel. Jacking off on threadbare bath towels under $6 a bottle of champagne, splattered mirrors every night at 11 p.m., soaking in the neon glow of hardcore porn, and lights out $100 a week motel room has a certain ambience. Home is where your heart makes it.
Well done, my friend. Thank you.
Oh wait, let's do that again. I gotta get in on that. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see how maybe some of the more Christian-leaning coworkers reading this would make me a little nervous.
Well, as long as they're not like, spoiler alert, the character Kitty Fucker, I'm sure we're all good.
That, by the way, is the bones of that character is based on a real-life person I worked in a different factory with.
Dude, a quick story. Back in Alpena, I worked 2 summers at the cement plant in town that my dad worked at. He's retired now. The second year, I worked for a contractor there. And, And I worked there, and unfortunately my partner there was a dickhead. I mean, very lazy. He liked to, fake back injuries in order to get out of work early.
Uh-huh.
I will give him this. He did stand up for safety rights, and the cement plant itself doesn't have a union, but the contractor does.
Mm-hmm.
So he technically got himself out of work that was technically dangerous by, bringing up his union contract.
Mm-hmm.
And we butted heads a lot. We nearly got into a fight once. And he disappeared one day. I think he got fired finally. And my mom and I were checking out the local sex offender registry one weekend. In small town Alpena, Michigan, that's what you do on the weekends. Just the family scours the local sex offender registry. And we were going through there, and I see one. I'm like, hey, that guy looks familiar. I click on it, and yeah, it's the dickhead that I worked with for 2 months, I think. And, it's not funny, but, this part isn't funny. I believe he was a tier 3 sex offender, which is, the worst. Victim 12 and under.
So that coworker I worked with, all I'm comfortable saying on air is that they had to put a video camera in the parking lot because he suddenly started having a rash of flat tires.
Really?
And that culminated in him eventually taking a sick leave from work because somebody kept, quote-unquote, printing off his sex offender page and hanging up copies of it in the bathrooms at work.
Very nice.
Some unidentified vigilante. I would say unhailed hero, really. But anyway, he ended up on a long stretch sleeve. But
you know the song "Hero" by Nickelback that was in the Spider-Man movie. They say that a hero can save us. That one. That would play. That would play every time this mysterious vigilante would pin it to the wall.
Yeah.
but
you know, I think I realized at some point that living a poor life and like working in all these shitty factories over the years, and all like and it's like not that my troubles weren't self-inflicted because I'm a recovering alcoholic for God's sake, like a real life homeless alcoholic at one point. It's like once if you survive that, like all of the adventures and rich characters you knew, that becomes fodder for writing at some point. Just like small town becomes fodder for writing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, as I said before, all books are autobiographical to some extent.
Yeah, so my author friend Michael Brover asked me this question the other day. I've been thinking about this. Do you think it's possible you could write something that's purely fiction?
It's a very good question. How do you respond?
I can't. I do write fiction, but I feel like even my best imagination fiction is still influenced by my experience, like by my perspective, It's still me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no, I don't think you can write anything purely 100% fiction,
Well, I mean...
I guess Stephen King probably does, maybe, shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, by extent, I mean, like, whether it's something directly, like, Bukowski or Kerouac, or it's something that interests you in a way, like Stephen King or Robert Heinlein, the guy who wrote Starship Troopers, among other science fiction works. It all involves stuff that they're interested in.
Yeah.
So, it's also like how you market it, too. Kerouac honestly did that, like, this happened, this character is this character is that. Whereas Stephen King, I'm sure a lot of stuff takes place in his state, but he's not really like saying, well, this is based on this, and this based on that person.
Yeah.
So it's really like the extent of how autobiographical it is and how you market it.
Yeah. We watched by the way, off topic again, a Kerouac. It was like a black and white recording of him being interviewed on live TV by William F. Buckley, I think.
Oh God, that interview! Yeah, when he's completely
like bumped up drunk, man,
completely hammered. And,
it's a good interview. It's pretty wild, but like
I think he's with Ginsberg and Ed Sanders.
Yep, they were there.
And the whole thing was just him being
he
like,
ripped on the Jews and shit. Like,
oh yeah, he's like, I think the Vietnam War is. Hold on, let me do the voice. I think the Vietnam War is just get jeeps into Vietnam. It's like, jeez.
Man, yeah, I think that, like, at least for me, I don't know, Stephen King's a great writer, though.
Yeah, it all goes back. Oh yeah, he's definitely one of the great modern ones, whether people want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
Despite the criticism.
My next book, Finding Jesus, is definitely fiction, but I have visited that 67-foot tall concrete Jesus,
All right.
I went there I was 12 years old. I went there on a family field trip with, not a family, a Sunday school field trip from the church that I was indoctrinated in as a child.
All right.
It was a pretty wild weekend in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, with my Sunday school class.
Yep.
12 years old.
All right, folks. $100 a week motel out now through Punk Hostage Press. Please purchase it.
Yeah, thank you. You can get copies from www.punkhostagepress.com to avoid the Amazon strike this week, and www.gatheringvolumes.com, a local bookstore in Northwest Ohio.
All right. Next topic here, and they're both kind of update topics since when you and I last talked, I visited you at your home studio, And I believe around this time was both when you established Not Duck and A Row Studios and when you first started the Blue Collar Gospel Hour.
Yeah, you were my first guest, actually, Swapcast.
Yeah, very honored for that. I'm glad I could help you out there.
Yeah, that was super cool, man. You have, so you and another local podcast host, Chris Daher, were both, the two people I first talked to about wanting to start a podcast and kind of gave me a little bit of advice. And so,
yeah, so
thank you for that.
Yep, so it's been a couple of months since you and I last talked. Yeah, how's the podcast been going?
Well, we've recorded and released 25 episodes, I believe. About an average of 1 to 2 a week. Sometimes it's been overwhelming. Sometimes I've overbooked myself and had 3 guests in a week, and that's too much when you work a full-time job, But it's been mostly really good for me because I've got to talk to a lot of cool and interesting people, Like my podcast, I have a guest on every episode that I talk to, or multiple guests, Recently, my last 4 episodes have averaged 100 listeners. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, what kind of guests do you talk to? Do you all know them in real life, or are they people you're interested in and you contacted them?
A mix of both. So far, my early episodes have been mostly people I knew or have known for years. I try to keep it a good mix of unionism talk. So my union coworkers or other union labor kind of people, and a mix with that, and a mix with working artists, people like me and you that have full-time jobs and are writers, and try to help promote them and pick their brains about their process, and somehow talking to people like you in these conversations, people are interested in that, so far. So, and it helps me be a better artist, I think.
Oh yeah, my podcast is generally monthly. I would like to do more, but well, again, kind of like writing, I have to fit it around my schedule, aka my day job, and pretty much everything else.
Well, I think that's the one thing I underestimated, Garrett, is podcasting really is a lot of work. You got to schedule this, around people's schedules, and then you got to listen to it and edit it, and then, sometimes, being a DIYer, one of my microphones might not be tuned right, so there's an echo I got to try to fix. It's it's more work than I bargained for, I guess, which has been okay, but sometimes that gets a little overwhelming. So one of the things I've done is I've started to slow down this year and try to focus on one a week that's a good quality episode. And I feel like that's helped me focus more on my quality, audio quality and stuff. And I feel like I'm getting better at not stammering, I guess anything, the more I do it, hopefully I get better at,
Yeah, same here, man. That's really all you can kind of hope for.
You by the way, I haven't listened to every episode you've ever put out.
Boo! What are you doing with your life?
No, but listen, I've been listening to your show long enough that from your early episodes to now, there's a big difference in you've improved as a podcaster. By the way,
I certainly hope so. I mean,
you're way more smooth as a talker than you were in your early episodes.
I mean, I still fuck up and flub a lot. It's actually to the point where I've kind of made it a character trait. Turn a weakness into a strength.
I feel like in the DIY scene, that's kind of part of our gym, part of our allure is that we're kind of rough around the edges, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully people buy into that as part of our allure,
Yeah, my favorite one, I think the last major time I fucked up was with our local Grand Rapids comedian Garret Schuelke, who's one of the co-hosts of a movie podcast, and I forget which movie I think I was comparing them to different movie reviewers. I said instead of Roger Ebert, I said Roger Roper or something. And he's like, wait, are you talking about Roger Roger Ebert? I'm like, oh, god damn it. Yeah, it's one of those things where you sound like really intelligent and sure, then you fuck up.
Well, I always, sometimes when I re-listen back to an episode, I'm editing it, I'll hear like I made a mistake in telling a fact, and I'm just like, fuck it. Like, I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not wealthy enough to hire a full-time engineer to fact-check everything on spot of the moment. Like,
no, Joe Rogan fucks up too. He's got that big-brained energy that he relies on, and
but you know that's part of his allure.
Yeah, it is.
Is that he's and let's be honest. Like I listen to Rogan. I'm way more selective now when which guests he gets. I listen to.
Oh God,
I don't have time. But.
He's gotten bad lately, all because of course he's obsessed with cancel culture to the point where he brings up every time.
I feel like he's right about some of that though, but that's neither here nor there. I got to tell you my funniest meme I've seen lately. By the way, you'll appreciate this. I think being a meme lord yourself.
Oh, thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, we can't let this episode go without mentioning Garret being the meme lord, which sometimes is risky enough to get him arrested by the Facebook cops.
Oh yeah, dude, I got hit twice last week actually. One for like one I posted back in 2016, and it claimed I was trying to promote a dangerous organization because God, what's the actor who plays the Harry Potter in the films? What's his name?
Daniel Radcliffe?
Yeah, I think he stars in a movie where he's like a neo-Nazi or something. So someone memed it and put it like Harry Potter and the Final Solution. So I posted that back in 2016, got good laughs out of it. Slap forward to 2021. You have violated our guidelines for posting violent and dangerous images.
Cancel culture, man.
Let's not get into that, man, because I have a lot of opinions.
Well, anyway, my new favorite meme, or at least one of the funniest ones I've seen lately, it's that guy sitting behind a table at the Change My Mind meme.
Fucking Steven Crowder, fuck him.
Yeah, but it says Joe Rogan is Oprah for guys.
Yeah, pretty much. That is true.
That is funny to me.
Fun fact with Steven Crowder, I had the pleasure of seeing him get his face caved in back in 2012 during our Right to Work protests in Lansing.
Uh-huh.
He was there with the pro Right to Work crowd antagonizing people. No, the usual shit like, what, don't you believe in freedom? You know, stuff like that. And one of the blue collar dudes just punched him right in the fucking face.
Yeah,
it was.
I'm pretty. I want to be Buddhist and anti-violent, but sometimes you got to punch a Nazi.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome, and I was there for that too.
When it happens, I don't have any sympathy. How about that?
I know it was awesome. I saw it in real life. It was great, and the tent got afterwards. The right to work people's tent got torn down. There was a mini riot, and like a day or so later, Steven Crowder was on Fox News claiming that the guy who rocked his shit was lucky that he didn't unleash his martial arts skills on him.
Well, one time before, no, it hasn't been. I'm not necessarily a pacifist, but one time a few years ago, I got 100 and some likes on Facebook for offering to fight Milo, whatever his name
Milo
is.
Yiannopoulos, yes.
That guy, man. Like, I feel like that somebody just needs to, so what happened? I challenged him to a street fight underneath our street light at 9 p.m. Just me and him, mano a mano. He did not respond to my social media request. I think he's too chicken to face me, Garret.
Well, actually, I don't know, he's probably shacked up at a crack house by now, because he kind of canceled himself on Joe Rogan by basically defending pedophile priests.
Yeah, I mean, that's, and you know, do do we really need those people to be stars and to be?
No, not at all. Basically,
like if you're struggling with those kind of boundaries, like let's not idolize those people,
Well, the thing with him, and a lot of these guys like Crowder and Shapiro and Ben Shapiro is that they're just guys. Actually, I'm kind of like paraphrasing a old conservative columnist. The only conservative that I ever liked. His name was Charlie Reese. And he basically made a point in one of his old columns is that guys like him who write columns are basically just making a living saying opinions. That's really it.
Yeah.
They're not. Yeah. It's not like you and I who are making art and putting it out into the world. It's literally, you and I can spend months and maybe years writing something and getting it out there through a publisher, through whatever. And then these jerk-offs can go online or on Fox or whatever and just say something shitty and boom, famous. Money comes in. It's fucking bullshit, dude.
Welcome to capitalism, man.
Yep, exactly.
Capitalism and fascism and lobbyists. Lobbyism is like a $10 billion a year industry.
Oh, yeah.
Like billions.
I mean, that's one reason why while the COVID relief bill got passed, that's one reason why we don't have $15 an hour minimum right now.
Fuck yeah.
Because a lot of lobbying, including that. You see, like, that one was a senator. She showed her vote by just walking up and giving a thumbs down.
Yeah.
God. Fuck that shit.
Like, they really don't want to pay people a living wage, man.
Yeah.
So, by the way, some of the things because of COVID that have fascinated me, have you been reading lately that employers are having a really hard time getting people to come to work?
Yeah.
And, like, all of these, like, conservatives and even the corporatist, like, Democrat kind of people are really losing their shit about that. Like, we got to stop giving these people an extra $300 a week. They don't want to go back to work. Like, if your company is so shitty that $700 is more than you would make at your shit company, like, maybe you should look at that,
No, that is totally their mindset, though. It's just everyone but them is lazy. They all gotta be controlled.
Did you see that study that came out of San Francisco about universal basic income?
No, I haven't.
I'll send you a link to it. I've been kind of reading articles about this study. They did a study for 18 months in San Francisco. They picked a diverse group of people to give $500 a month to. Just free money. And much to everyone's surprise, at the end of this study, there was an almost double increase in full-time employment amongst the participants.
Oh, shit, for real?
Almost twice as many people had a full-time job at the end of the study as before, Garrett. Ain't that amazing?
Now, who would have thunk that? Having money makes life easier.
Well, that's one of the guys interviewed said he had 3 part-time jobs before that $500. So he started getting that. He said that enabled him to quit his weekend job, and having weekends off made him, like, feel better. And he realized kind of what he wanted to do in life, so now he just had one full-time job and was, like, way happier in life.
Ooh, that's bad. In America, you have to be productive and working all the time.
Man, if they do enough of these studies, capitalism might be in trouble. There's going to be a big push.
I don't know, man. We're a very anti-scientific country. So,
hey,
I don't know, man.
What the fuck, man?
Okay.
Sometimes it just feels hopeless and overwhelming, Garrett.
Yeah. We're black-pilled enough, so let's keep talking about something better.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, maybe this isn't better, but I want to hear the story about it. So you've been going pretty good with the podcast, but I heard that apparently you've been having some trouble with the copyright office or the name.
Oh, man, yeah, the trademark office, those motherfuckers.
So what happened?
So I picked my name, the Blue Collar Gospel Hour, right?
Right.
And that was something I said randomly. I did a Facebook Live poetry reading, and I told people I was just talking shit and kind of feeling, a little cocky and confident with some recent success. And I said I'm bringing the Blue Collar Gospel Truth, and I kind of thought that was a cool name, so I trademarked it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least I tried to trademark it. It is protected by trademark law because I have a 6-month period where I have to respond to this fucking government attorney who says I don't have Christian music on my podcast, so I'm misrepresenting my name.
Wait. Okay, so it's not that someone out there already has a show called the Blue Collar Gospel Hour.
Like I'm misrepresenting who I am.
Oh, wait. Is it because they think that you're trying to do like some religious shtick?
Yes.
Oh, jeez. Now I see why.
Which is maddening to me because I'm a writer, first of all, who loves the dictionary. And if you look at the word gospel, and the second definition is a simple word that says truth. Like I'm simply trying to bring the working artist truth to light. That's it. And these fucking government assholes. So when I trademarked my show, I did a DIY. So I studied and I read and I figured out how to apply myself for a trademark, right? Because I want to save money for attorneys. So I've been reading about it. I figured out how to respond. I haven't crafted my response yet, but I'm confident I got a good shot at winning this one, though. Which I decided if I don't win, what does that mean? That I can't use the name? It doesn't mean that. It just means that people can steal my name, and I can't sue them, I guess. But do I really care?
Or can you even really afford it?
I mean, is anybody really going to steal the Blue Collar Gospel Hour?
I don't know. Maybe if like the Blue Collar comedy guys came back and like started doing Christian comedy, they could do that.
Well, I guess maybe if I got a book like famous enough, somebody might steal my shit or something. I don't fucking know. Whatever. It's just another pain in the ass. Like, if only our government cared about small business and the little guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which they completely don't, but they all say they do.
Well, dude, I really hope that this works out for you. And
it's gonna. If not, I'm still gonna rail about it, and I'm still gonna like be a spur under their saddle if I can.
Well, I assure you, though, it can possibly work out in your favor because I haven't told anyone this story yet, but yeah, I had something similar happen when I first started my podcast because it turns out there's another Garret Schuelke out there who also has a podcast. And, but rather than you, like, who went through the government channels, I just sent the guy a bunch of death threats, and he relented and let me use the name.
That's some more DIY punk style.
Yeah, there we go.
That's more hardcore.
Yeah, who knew that threatening, like, a 70-year-old guy with death would, he would say, okay, I'll delete everything I have, Mr. Schuelke.
Yeah, so I've chosen the more pop punk route, Garrett. Still DIY.
Yeah, you see, I'm more of a Black Flag. You're more of a Green Day.
Yeah. Well, I did see Green Day's "It's Not American Idiot" on Broadway when I was in New York City.
Oh, really? How was that?
Yeah, that was. Well, I was there, and I had to see a show on Broadway because I'm in Times Square, right? So I chose that one because it was the cheapest ticket on Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
It was $14.
Okay, so how was the show?
American Idiot by Green Day.
Well, how was it?
The musical. It was pretty good, actually. I mean, I liked Green Day in the 90s when I was younger. They're a pretty good band. They are kind of pop punk, which I didn't know was a thing until recently.
Oh, dude, I love pop punk. Really, I have. And
I am. So
some
of my musician friends locally here are in a pop punk band. And I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck is pop punk? And they started explaining it to me. I'm like, oh yeah, cool.
Well, like, you know who was probably like the very first pop punk band, actually?
Who?
The Ramones.
Who? Who?
The Ramones.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
I mean,
I was just talking. So my publisher, by the way, Punkostas Press, Iris Berry, my editor and publisher, her biography says that she was one of the founding members of the underground punk scene in Hollywood. So you can imagine the cool stories that she tells when we talk on the phone, by the way.
Really, like, in the 80s?
Yes.
Oh, so this was like the hardcore punk scene there with like Black Flag and Dead Kennedys and whatnot.
Yep.
Oh, shit, that is awesome.
She told me a story, and I don't want to be the guy that tells her story because it's her story. But she told a story the other day about meeting Tom Waits. I was like, wait, what? Like, she's just all casual about this shit. And I'm like, huh? Wait, what? You know?
Okay, was this like Tom Waits when he was like his cool jazz beatnik character? Or was he by this time like weird William Burroughs guy who like,
no,
I don't know, like sings into trash cans and records it?
No, before that.
Oh,
like the early, like late 70s, early 80s Tom Waits.
That would be my favorite Tom Waits.
Yeah.
Hard Saturday Night's one of my all-time favorite albums.
Casually tells those stories blows my fucking mind, man.
Nice.
And it's like, holy shit, that person that has lived this high-level creative life thinks my writing is good. How cool is that?
Oh, yeah. All right, dude. Last topic of the night. Another update. We talked about your podcast. What about we talk about your publishing there? The Not a Duck in Any Row Studios.
Yeah, so we started, well, I guess I started. I say we, but it's because I've had some help, you know. The Lunch Bucket Brigade. It's a DIY publishing company. We make staple books. Basically, my goal is to make like books that working people can take to work and read on their breaks. And so far, I was trying to put together some numbers, but I think I've shipped books to like 30-some states now, and a couple different countries, which has been kind of wild. I just got some books rejected and sent back from Nigeria because I made an error on the customs form.
Oh, really?
So I guess it's dangerous to ship poetry to Nigeria. I don't fucking know. You gotta fill out customs forms to some countries.
They didn't read the content and said this is illegal propaganda.
No, they didn't even open it. It just, I guess I filled out I made a mistake on the fucking customs form, and you can't do that shit, I guess. That's Big Daddy government, you know, fucking capitalism once again. But no, the publishing's been kind of cool. We're losing money on it because we pay writers.
Yeah, it tends to happen. I'm sure you would save money if you just had them work for free, or you know.
Yeah, but that's I think if I do this right, hopefully over time I'll get to the place where it breaks even and funds itself, which is the goal. And in the meantime, the coolest part is I get to be the guy that gets 15 or 20 writers sending their work every month, and I get to be the guy that reads that.
Yeah.
They send me their work, you know, and I get to read all this cool poetry every month, you know.
Yeah, you know how you can save money? Just say that we'll pay you in exposure.
Yeah, well, I do send 5 free books too.
That's a joke,
and I'm not, to be honest, nobody's getting rich, Garrett. I pay $10 per poem for male writers and $15 per poem for female writers. And the reason why I pay $5 more for women is in honor of #RBG, because women have, especially, oftentimes in the artistic fields, women have been underrepresented and have been not paid as evenly. And so you would be surprised how many men get pissed at that, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it does. I mean,
it's just kind of a little sticky thing.
You know how many freakouts I've seen over the years whenever, like, if I'm in a Facebook group that just is all just submissions where, like, people can post about, you know, anthologies or presses can talk about their upcoming stuff. If they put something like, you know, for LGBTQ women of color only. Oh,
Yeah.
God. You at least get like 10, 20 comments of all these fucking lame-ass dudes complaining about it.
Yeah, and it's like, come on, man. Like nobody's getting rich. Like, the cool thing, so, also, I should mention this. I need to promote this better, Garrett. But the Lunch Bucket Brigade, all of our zines, $1 from every zine sold goes to a local food bank. Because the Lunch Bucket Brigade, the Lunch Bucket Brigade name is borrowed or stolen from Lunch Bucket Brigades, originally founded by women, would make these box lunches and like make a chain and like sneak them in a back window of a sit-down strike in a factory. And that kind of got coined the term Lunch Bucket Brigade, kind of.
The more you know.
Yeah, so I picked that name for that reason because it has that meaning for like labor and factories, you know, and unions. But also because, you know, I'm trying to make like working hard for those people, but also because I want to feed my neighbors. You know, it's important. I grew up poor. I want to support my community a little bit, you know. So,
yes.
If I want to quote unquote make this a small business, I want to give back, I guess.
Yeah, what authors have you published so far?
So, our first chapbook was by my local singer-songwriter poet buddy, Craig James Ackerman. He wrote an incredible, I guess, novella short story. It's very much Richard Brodigan style, like one-page chapters.
Oh, nice.
It's called Department Stores. A local best-selling author, I gave them a copy of this chapbook, by the way, called Department Stores, and they said it's one of the most exciting things they'd ever read, by the way. So that was the first one we ever put out, was Craig James Ackerman's Department Stores. Pretty cool book. Michael Brover has a book of messages for Donald Trump. It's 8 poems, like kind of, you know, messages of Donald Trump. It's a cool little chapbook. And then in my zines, I've published, like John Dorsey's been, like, in a couple of the zines. We've had several poets from Wisconsin, Missouri, California, Ohio, of course, and Michigan, Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky. So we've been able to publish, I think, so far a wide range of diverse writers. And hopefully by doing that, we can get this into working people. Will find some writers they like, you know?
Yeah, got anything coming up that's particularly notable?
Our next scene is out April 5th, I think it is, a Monday. We're taking the month of March off because I got that week vacation coming up and some other projects. And I kind of got to I want to figure out how to promote this Lunch Bucket Brigade better because I want to I feel like these artists deserve to get read. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which is really why I want to do this, you know? But, like I said, that comes out in April. I got a couple of solo projects to be announced soon, of a couple of solo chapbooks coming from artists. But I haven't nailed down the specifics with them, so I don't want to announce that yet. But some cool things, you know? Which, by the way, also takes up time, because you got to read poems and lay out books. And so basically I have 2 full-time jobs now, being an artist and being a factory worker. And at some point I'd like to do more of what I want to do, you know?
Yep. So,
that's the goal, Garrett.
Yeah, so overall, what has your experience as a publisher been like?
It's been good for me because I get to read a lot of different writers every month, because all in one place they send me their work. Well, that's been really good for me as an artist. But I guess my experience is right now it's just really tough to sell art. At least it seems to be. Like a lot of the writers I've been talking to and other publishers, like small indie publishers, like it's just because we can't get out and do readings, we can't go to art shows, we can't travel as much, you know.
I mean, there is a plague going on, so yeah, I can understand why it's pretty tough.
But like even my first book coming out, $100 a Week Motel, it's sold relatively well, but I haven't been able to have a big book release. We had to have an online one. By the way, that was pretty cool. But I guess that's the cool thing is these Zoom readings and stuff. You get to promote a little bit, and you get to have a diverse group of writers around the country in one reading. But you can't go to 30 people in a coffee shop and read from your book and sign 10 books and sell them, you know?
Yeah. Well,
so I guess my buddy Patrick McGee, by the way, you'll appreciate this, I think. It stuck with me. I did a podcast with Patrick McGee and Joe Matthews, two musicians and artists in Memphis, Tennessee area, virtually. And Patrick McGee said he's been an artist for over 30 plus years, Garrett. He said that as an artist, you have to learn to adapt. I thought, man, that's good advice, you know? That's the best advice an artist can get, really.
All right, brother.
The underground ones like us, you know?
Yep. Well, bro.
Guys that can't afford to hire a promotions company to advertise for us.
Thank God for the internet. Do all that for free.
Amen.
Yeah.
If they quit kicking us off their shit.
Ah, jeez. Well, we can always go to Parler.
By the way,
or Gab, or Telegram.
I've had a hard time. You know how, like, maybe you can do, like, little cheap $10 Facebook ads and shit to promote your stuff?
I stopped doing that because it just never worked for me.
Well, I'll do it. I'll do, like, the $5 ones because I figure at least the people that follow me will be more likely to see it. But I've had a hard time, like, promoting my book that way because of language. Fucking fascist. So much for promotion of free speech on public platforms.
Well, don't worry, my friend. As you can tell, you could swear as much as you want on this podcast.
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of DIY. That really, I've been thinking about that. As long as we can keep the internet mostly free, that's the beauty. It kind of like levels the playing field a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
It allows people like us to do this from our homes and try to make our mark, you know.
Yeah.
Hustle our philosophies and our work, you know.
Yep. Oh, dude.
Eric, way to go, man. I appreciate your hustle, man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you as well.
So I appreciate you always wanting to make a difference in a positive way as much as you can, and always like making an effort to make your mark as a writer, you know.
Oh, thank you.
That's definitely a grind in today's world.
Well, upon that praise being showered upon me, I think this would be a good time to end this podcast.
Perfect. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it, Garrett.
Yeah, promo time, Dan. Where can people find you and, well, all your work and all your projects?
So the best way, Google Dan Denton, $100 Week Motel. You can find the book. If you're on social, if you go to, so the podcast and the publishing and all that stuff, if you go to www.noduckstudios.com. By the way, Garrett, my Green Room Lounge that I'm going to start working on soon, hopefully, is going to be called Stray Duck Lounge. They've been in with the No Duck Studios, not a duck in any row. So to keep with the disorganized theme.
Yeah. Earlier today when I was writing out the notes, for questions that I wanted to ask you, I accidentally wrote not a fucking any row studios.
That's very accurate as well. It's hard to line all the fucks up.
No, it was so accurate. In fact, I actually had to look it up on Facebook. I was like, wait, is that it?
I've been talking to, so since I've kind of dialed back a little bit of my hardcoreness because I have an elected position in a union. And, like, not to be political or anything, but I got to be conscientious a little bit of what people see me say,
Oh, yeah.
And I'm trying to sell a book, I guess, too. But anyway, trying not to get canceled, man. It's a delicate balance.
Hey, they never canceled Bukowski, man.
That's true. Well, once you get good enough, it's hard to do that, But the thing is, I got to get good enough first. But I'm thinking about bringing back Bucket Friday, man. Because Fridays just seem like right now we need that kind of one day where we can just say, fuck it, it's almost the weekend, it's Friday, it's payday. We're just going to do what we got to do to get through it and do what we want to do tonight, So Bucket Fridays may return soon.
All right.
But go to noduckstudios.com. You can find out information at www.punkhostagepress.com to find out about the book. Thanks, Garrett. I appreciate you having me on, man.
All right, and everyone, you can find me as usual on my website, garretschuelke.tumblr.com, at Garret Schuelke on Twitter, Garret Schuelke Authors page on Facebook. For the podcast, there's the Facebook page, at Schuelke Podcast on Twitter, and the usual places, Anchor, Spotify, YouTube, Internet Archive. But we have some new places you can find this show now. You can find them on AudioMac, Stitcher, Listen Notes, and iTunes. Air horns. And I guess I'll learn in like a month or so whether it'll get on Pandora or not. All right, folks. That's it. That's the show. Dan, thanks for coming on.
Hey, have a good night, brother. Thanks for having us.
Yep, and thank you everyone for listening. And once again, this show is dedicated to Lawrence Ferlinghetti, who passed away recently. 101 years old.
Long live Lawrence. Without Lawrence Ferlinghetti, we wouldn't have the beach, man.
We wouldn't have a lot of things.
Amen.
Yep.
So
So have a good night, folks. Here is the outro song.